Another project I have going on is a custom porch railing where they've added in a new staircase on the outside of their house, and I have to match the existing wrought iron work that goes around the rest of it. And there's some scrolling involved. So using a photograph of the original railing, I had my wife take Photoshop and make me a kind of a sketch or a blueprint of what the scrolls should look like for this new section. And I've taken a piece of rope and traced it and taped it down to that scroll so that I can figure out how much material this scroll is going to take by measuring the rope. I've also made a little index mark here that will show me how long or how much of this piece of material I need to make the jig to make the scrolls. And it'll just be a short little spiral, about this much of it, and then each end of the completed scroll I'll just wrap around that jig, and then they'll all be the same, and then I don't have to make one the full size of this board. And then there's this little spur that kicks off to the side that I'll have to make a little jig for too. And then I don't have to keep comparing them to the paper pattern. I can just make them all. The next step in the process is to cut the tape and measure the string. So I'll just go along with the little X-Acto knife and cut all the little pieces of tape. First measurement is for the jig, and I will need 18 inches of this flat bar. So I'll mark that off here. About half of it. Now the next measurement will be for the piece of little 3/4 inch bar stock that I have to wrap around the jig. Of course, I got that in 20-foot lengths. And we need 49.5 inches. And then to show you kind of what I did to begin with, we've got that little guy there. I just kind of laid this on there and taped it down as I went, and then followed the curvature of all these spirals. So the next part of this will be to take this out to the forge and heat it up, and using a bending fork, roll this scroll to fit inside this one, and then tack weld it down to a little 1/4 inch plate or something that locks in my vise or tacks to my welding table. And then I'll heat up the actual material I'm going to make all these out of, cut them to 49.5 inches long, and then wrap each end into the spiral. And then I'll find another little plate that'll have this little spur. I'll have a bunch of that stock cut, and I'll just make a day of forging scrolls.